Very hard bonuses are balanced, especially given to the player. Compared to the AI, we can abuse most of these significantly more, ranging from the absolutely busted 50% force limit bonus to the 25% core creation cost reduction to even the minus 25% construction cost. It's scaling time. But unfortunately, you can't really do that in Iron Man, and hence earn achievements and other things. Well, it turns out you can. Now, before we get into anything else, I have to clarify I did not discover this far from. This was brought to my attention by none other than Florry himself. I was enjoying a Florry stream, as one does, and if by some miracle you have seen my stuff and haven't seen Florry, well, you're missing out. Anyway, he informed me that this is something he would make a video on, but he doesn't make videos, so I should go do that. And what can I say? Orders given, orders followed. Now, before we continue, I did do some poking around, asking people I know, etc., and apparently this is also considered known among the speedrunning community. So whether this is from Florry discovering it and sharing it to the speedrunners, or the speedrunners discovering it first, or them both doing it independently, I don't know. I'm unaware of that situation. I'm just going to opt out of that whole discussion. What, however, I did find out from personal testing in that they claimed that this can also be used to obtain the Lucky Nation buffs. I did test this, and on top of requiring quite a few restarts to make Denmark part of the Lucky Nation pool, it didn't actually work for me. The Lucky Nation buff in my test did not occur, which is a bit unfortunate, as this would have definitely increased the clickbait nature of my title. I mean, the coolness of the run. Okay, it's both. But yes, just to dispel that right away, in my testing, you can only get the very hard bonuses, as well as the aceism on the side. You can't also become a Lucky Nation using this method and setup. Right, that's a lot of talking. And before we get into the game, time for the usual things. A like would be appreciated, and a subscription would be amazing. Trinidad remains ahead, with his victory seeming secure. But I have hope. A win is still possible. If you haven't subscribed, please do so now. We can, no, indeed we must, still win. With that all said, enough self-shilling, let's get into the game. So here we are. Now, normally I just not even talk about any setups. We're not usually using custom nations, and if we are, I'm kind of mentioning that ahead of time, and I pretty much exclusively play this game on normal. With that said, obviously for this, we're going to need to go on very hard, because we need a buff to inherit. Basically, if the AI doesn't have very hard bonuses themselves, we're not going to be able to get them. This does kind of make it a more equal playing ground, but overall, I find something like minus 25% core creation cost is something that the player is able to use significantly better than the AI, as previously mentioned. But yes, you will need to be playing on very hard for this, which is certainly going to make the start even more painful. Furthermore, when it comes to Lucky Nations, I'm going to keep it on historical, as this will enable achievements. You can go with random if you really want to, and again, there might be something major I'm missing here with random custom nations that does allow Denmark to become a Lucky Nation and you to inherit it. From my testing, I wasn't able to do that. But if I'm proved wrong, then I would suggest you go with random, because it gives you an extra chance of inheriting the Lucky Nation buffs available if Denmark becomes a Lucky Nation. But for this demonstration, we will be going with historical. So with that said, let's accept these settings and let's get into our country of choice. Not quite Denmark, we'll be playing as Scotland. Now, I will be playing this in normal mode for the purpose of demonstration. Now, of course, because I'm just here to show off a run, and obviously I can't use console commands in Iron Man mode. Okay, technically I can, but I'm not meant to show you how. Anyway, yes. So when you're doing this, you can absolutely play in Iron Man mode. In fact, a large part of the setup is to get those bonuses on Iron Man mode, but I will be doing this demonstration in normal with console. Right, so let's get into the country. And the reason I'm recording this instead of just cutting to when we are straight into Gotland is because we actually are going to have to start from day one. The claims of Eric Griff, or however you want to pronounce this. Danish is a language that continues to elude me to this day. Now, most of the time, I'd have to say, if you're playing Gotland, you're normally doing it for something like a Gotland into Hansa into Prussia Giga Discipline build or something stupid like that. Or you're playing a Pirate Republic Gotland, or loads of other fun Gotland loads of fun content that Gotland has access to. Not a lot of fun Gotland that content has access to. Bit of a Freudian slip there. So usually you have to say that Eric is nobody's king, he is the mayor of Gotland, and then you go do those things, you get the fun other missions, whatever. However, in this case, we're going to stand behind Eric, the king of the Kalmar Union, as this is going to give us access to the missions we need to reform Denmark, and most crucially, the event that makes all of this happen. So let's take a look at our missions here. We have the default missions on the right. Nice, we can pretty much ignore those for a lot of the time. This is a nice mission here for picking up some manpower, which you're going to need for this upcoming war. You can also upgrade your city here and get some bonuses. Nothing to complain about. Hey, local ship repair doesn't hurt. And go sign deal with the emperors. You can go curtail your estates, which, by the way, is a relatively nice bonus. As well as picking some dip rep advisors that are very nice and cheap. Anyway, the main thing that you're looking for, of course, is the War for the Crown and the Back in Control, an excellent Sabaton song, but also the thing that makes the magic happen. Regarding War for the Crown, fabricate a claim on Denmark. So shove a spino in there and get yourself a claim, usually on Blekking. I, of course, am just going to use the console and give myself a claim, which you'll be able to fabricate with your spy network. Next, you want to improve with both Sweden and Norway. You have 2 diplomats, so go ahead and do that. Now, you are going to be struggling a bit from behind with Sweden because they do have a core giving you -20. However, one thing I would strongly recommend is going to your clergy, and there will be a privilege here. More specifically, you're going to be able to get religious diplomats. That's going to give you +10 opinion of same religion. And since you're all, well, Catholics, that's a pretty nice thing to have. It does help with this, as when we take a look and it updates, there we go. We're going to be on 19 opinion, so you need to improve +80. Again, though, I'm just going to use the console commands and give myself the opinion, which will enable us to recover Swedish loyalty, which gives them a lot of liberty desire, a very helpful bonus, and yeah, basically makes them historical friends. Excellent things to see. Furthermore, Norwegian trust, same thing, but you also pick up some sailors, can't complain, especially given how navally focused a lot of this early fighting is going to be. With that said, it's time for war against the crown. Well, war for the crown. You're going to get the Restoration of Unity beyond Denmark, which you're not going to be using, as well as 15 Army Tradition, Navy Tradition. Or, well, you might be using. Basically, you're going to need to full annex Denmark. Easier said than done. Frankly, I'd say get ready for a truce break. Very difficult thing to do with the HRE around you. It's going to be painful, but I never said it'll be easy. Anyway, when you can, declare on Denmark. Hope they haven't picked up any crippling allies at this point. The plan is you need to eat them ASAP. Right, you're going to need to take over Sealand as well, just to make sure you have your missions still going. This is going to give you the event occupation of Sealand, which is going to give Holstein even more liberty desire, nuclear war exhaustion, give you some extra stability. Definitely can't complain, especially with how much of a pain this probably is for you. I'm suffering and I'm literally cheating. And with that, time for the final setup. You will, as part of this, need to full annex Denmark. They need to not exist, so that you're able to release and play as them. Obviously, that has coalition problems associated with that, especially a trees breaking to try and do this early. This is absolutely not easy. I want to be clear about that. This is definitely quite the difficult campaign, especially given the nature of it. But it is absolutely doable. I mean, Florry's done it, so you can too. With Denmark successfully removed, what I would strongly suggest is relocating your capital into Sealand. And the reason for this is this means you would not need to reinvade Gotland or anything of that nature. Now prepare for the recent play. What I mean by that is delete any armies or navies you have at this point to make sure that the Gotland that you are going to be abandoning has no one left. And this is the part where, thankfully, the AE works against you. If they get a mass coalition at this point, that's okay, you're about to stop being them. Well, you want to go ahead and get ready to, well, I guess, execute the wrong king first, but make sure you're able to pop the mission back in control. So, what you do now is quite simple. You pop the mission, restoration of the Danish crown, fun and games, perfect. Leave that on screen. Go and create a vassal play as release subject Denmark. You are now Denmark. Congratulations. First thing you're going to do, this is going to hurt. Ouch. You need to win this war. Mercs are your friends, boys. Mercs are your friends. And with that, you will demand their full annexation, and you'll probably need to get your independence in the process. Bit of a coalition, but then again, that's what truce breaking gets you. I had to do this twice. Yeah, I kind of messed up the first one. Oops. Well, what's going to happen now is you're going to let that event expire, as you hopefully try not to die from a collision. Again, you shouldn't truce break twice. That was an oopsie daisy by my end. Damn, that's quite a bit of a collision, isn't it? And what happens now? Well, when that event expires, you get new traditions and ambitions. Again, for those worried about the massive coalition that just happened there, to be absolutely clear, I messed it up right now in the quick demonstration. I had a truce break twice. It's not going to be that bad. One truce break isn't going to completely end your campaign as I just ended here. Well, you're going to get new traditions and ambitions because you've just formed Denmark again with Gotland. Also, as you can see from AI Moments, they've taken some ideas for you. You do want to go ahead and gain new traditions and ambitions if you want to. Everyone leaves the coalition. Fascinating. Why is that? Well, I'm just not sure if the mathematics happened. I think it has now. If you look at our country modifiers, you're going to see the reformation of the Danish crown. You picked that up, and nice. Nothing to complain about there. But let's take a look at our force limit. We have 50% because we're playing on very hard. Let's also take a look at our core creation cost. It's not mentioned anywhere, but at the moment, we are playing on very hard. Also, our UI is glitched. Jesus Christ. I guess that was from the previous war. But yeah, we have the very hard buffs. More specifically, again, construction cost as well. Yep, core creation cost. Yep, it's all here. Look at that. Beautiful. You'll love to see it. Including 25% idea cost reduction. Just, oh, I love me some very hard bonuses. So yeah, there you go. You are now Denmark. You have the very hard buffs. and this is what you would do to achieve it in Iron Man. Is this easy? Absolutely goddamn not. There's a reason I'm demonstrating this with the use of the console right now, because if I was trying to get this run done legitimately, you wouldn't have had any videos out for 2 weeks. The other thing, of course, with this too, is if we go to Religions tab, because we've got inherited, and I say because here, I mean my sources here are... This is my best guess what happened. I don't actually really know how this bug works, and I think anyone that claims to is also making a guess. To understand how this works, you realistically need to know how Paradox compiles their EU4 and how everything works there, and unless you're a Paradox employee, I doubt you're going to be able to answer that question for me. But from my best guess, we got inherited by a tag that doesn't exist. And a tag that doesn't exist by inherent definition has no religion. So we now have no religion as well. Now this tag that doesn't exist also has, of course, the very hard buffs because they're AI, because they're not a player. To qualify for very hard, all you need to do is not be a player, and a country that doesn't exist by definition is also not a player. This is also one of the reasons where, I'm not sure if it's in the game now, but you used to have the situation where if you disbanded the Holy Roman Empire, no country was the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. So when you go in the HRE map mode, you'd see all the uncolonized provinces be Holy Roman emperors, because no province was owned by no player, and no player was the emperor. So it was a bit of an amusing highlight in that regard. But anyway, I digress. You're now atheist. So yeah, you have no religion. Congratulations, you are now the atheist people, and you can convert people into no religion as well. In 83 months, Bornholm will become no religion. This is another way of achieving atheism in current patch of Iron Man EU4. Anyway, that's just another little light tangent. You do pick up atheism on the side, so if you want to go do your world conquest as an atheist, well, you certainly have the ideas for it. You're going to probably want to spend some time in recovery here, but outside of the final truth break, just don't worry, the previous AE you had as you were capturing Denmark is going to be gone, and you're not going to have any overextension issues for the most part, because most of the area you're working with are going to be your cause with your religion. Well, not your religion, your culture. They're not going to be your religion. After all, Catholics are heathens compared to the atheists. In fact, everyone is. There are no heretics for atheism, and everyone is a heathen. But that is all I have time for today. Thank you very much for watching, but a special thank you to all my YouTube members, especially Ark, Solar, Solemon, W Haste, and Sebastian Haller.